If you could see the things God has shown me, you wouldn't fear death anymore. Better than that, you wouldn't fear life. God has given me this strength, this inner peace, to walk through the world without guilt, not holding on to that trauma and that fear and that anxiety. I never knew that was even possible. Because though I had faith in God and I believed in God, that faith was not deep at all. I'd felt his presence. He'd come to me in the most profound ways, and since there was no clear direction from him, I just never, let me say, I wanted to believe. I wanted to, and I chased it for such a long time, but I just didn't think that he was the type of person, or the type of being to step directly into our lives and to help us in that way. Sure, he might give us a little boost here or there, just like, oh, hey, keep your chin up. It was a total transformation. To get there, I had to go through what so many who I read a lot, or I listen to a lot of the experiences from the people who have died and come back to life, the near-death experiences. And so many of them explain almost exactly the type of feeling that I got after God came to me, finally. But I'd heard those all before. I'd heard them and I was like, wow, that's really nice. That's really beautiful. A little boy who fell through a lake and was dead for hours, or, stories like this. And I've seen them in actual real life. I've seen them happen in people's actual lives. But when they've died and come back or whatever, it seemed like the same thing was going on with them. They never got anything out of it. But for me, I had to die before I died. I experienced death before death. And that death was really at the lowest time of my life and the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And I didn't travel into the afterlife like so many with those near-death experiences explain. It wasn't that. It was God showing me that I can bring heaven here to earth with me. I didn't have to wait until after I died for this all to have meaning. There's meaning right here. I brought it right back with me. The afterlife was here, and though it's still this reality and it's still the same old things happening, I see heaven all around me now. I see beauty all around me. I see meaning in suffering. And I do so many videos on the meaning of suffering and finding purpose in life and all those things, because that I've always thought is the most important thing for all of us, is finding that divine purpose that God has given all of us. That is the meaning of this life, to find that divine purpose, and then we move on to the next meaning. And we don't know what that is until God shows us. But you have to be the type of person who enjoys the journey, not just getting to where you're going. I mean, my wife and I, we talk about this all the time, and we laugh about it a lot of times. And she's just like my grandparents. They always want to get where they're going so fast. They don't want to stop and make and see the things on the way or do all this and that. No, they got to get where they're going right now, do what they're going to do right now, and that's it. Because life is just a schedule, and you got to just keep on that schedule and keep on. Everything's got to be exactly the way it's supposed to go. Not me. I want to stop and see all the beautiful nature. Look at this behind me. I'm redoing this video actually. It's my 100th video. And I was right in front of an osprey nest, and I really wanted to shoot my video there, but the wind, and then I'm at Blue Jay Point near Raleigh, and this place, is amazing as it is also right near the airport, so planes flying over me all the time. But this beauty all around me is just one more gift from God. This consciousness that allows us to ponder those deeper meanings and those deeper thoughts. It's a gift from God. I thought about the phrase doubting Thomas. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not. I like to look into all the origins of all these old phrases, but that one I kind of knew because it was the disciple Thomas. And after Jesus died and then was resurrected, all the disciples, I believe it was all of them except for him, witnessed Jesus themselves. They saw him back out of the tomb, alive again. But Thomas, who had been, I guess, on the run from maybe the Romans, he comes in and he was like, why are you all, what's going on? You know, we're being chased by the Romans, and they told him they'd all seen Jesus, and he got mad at them, and he was like, he didn't believe them. He's like, I haven't seen him with my own eyes. You think I'm some kind of fool to believe this? And so then Jesus appeared to him. And I am horrible at remembering scripture, but I think he said something like, now you see me with your own eyes, and blessed are those who believe without seeing me. It was something along those lines. And it's true. All the atheists, all the doubters, and people who just despise things like Christianity, you despise Christianity because you think it's just a big fairy tale. And there's no way, there's absolutely no way that a man could be God made flesh and die and then be resurrected after 3 days. That's such a far-fetched thing. But yet they'll believe that the air is made of oxygen and carbon dioxide or whatever they tell them's in it. They'll believe all the unseen things that they can't see as long as it's somebody like a scientist telling them. Can't believe those ancient texts because they've been too corrupted. Everything's been filtered through man. Yes, the Bible has been filtered through man. That's the way it gets here. The language you read the Bible in has been filtered through man. Everything you know has been filtered through man and women. Sorry, I don't want to leave anybody out here. We are all building on the generation before us. We all believe in things that we can't see with our own eyes. We just are told that's the way it is. We are told how gravity works. We are told how the universe, the laws of the universe, we're told all these things. But how is it such a far-fetched idea that Jesus died for our sins and then came back then rose again, but yet literal entire universe, everything in it, our entire consciousness, just sprouted from nothing? What is that? I don't know what happened to my camera here, but why would you believe that it just sprouted from nothing when it's obvious so many things point to an intelligent designer? But those random particles or random things, that how were they there in the first place? Even if you do believe in the Big Bang, which we've found stars older than the Big Bang, the Big Bang literally, if you're believing in that, and it started time, it started every single thing that we have and can see or not see in front of us, everything. It just, from nothing, boom. Why would these laws of physics even exist? Why would any of this even exist? There's obviously a reason for it. There's obviously a purpose and a meaning. Here's my plane going over again. Sorry, you're going to hear a couple of those probably. So, you can't see it with your own eyes, so you don't believe it. And I understand why so many are so offended or don't want to believe in Christianity or any other religion, because look at how the world has portrayed it. First of all, the churches have, to me, have done a pretty horrible job at spreading the idea of actually connecting to God and what that means to connect to God. They're great at how to worship Him and following their rules on doing it. But what about connecting to God? Isn't that the only thing that matters? Isn't that what Jesus told us was the only thing that matters? He told us to pray to God the Father. I get it if you don't, some people just don't have a deep thought in them. And some people do, but their skepticism is so intense that they just will never ever believe anything besides what they can make rationale of in their minds. But that's what makes faith so powerful, is believing that without seeing it. Well, just like He told Thomas, blessed are the ones who believe without seeing me. Because it's so easy to believe when you actually witness it yourself. And the churches, yes, the faiths, so many different types of faith have led to just pure corruption of all the holy words. And that is why, there's a lot of reason why we're in the shape we're in right now. You know, we got churches hoarding information from us and really changing the Bible as they went along to make it easier for them to control us. So for me, I say, don't take it from anyone. Go straight to the source. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to worship. I'm going to tell you what works for me. And I didn't know this until God finally came to me. Making sure there's not people coming up on me. I didn't know this until God finally came to me and showed me that I'd known this all along. All the wisdom that He gave me had been in me all along. He just unlocked it. And He showed me how to seek out more wisdom and to extract wisdom from everything that I can in life, everything that matters. And I've told this a lot, but this is my 100th video, so I figured I'll go over this again. Go into the woods, go into nature, if you can turn your phone off, or at the very least just turn it on music or something, some kind of like deeper meaningful music. But for me, I like to hear the sounds around me, and I'm not talking about the plane. I'm talking about the animals and all of nature. And so I go into nature and I tell God why I'm hurting. He already knows, but I just have to get it off my chest. It's my therapy, because I don't not believe in therapy, but I also believe that therapy is just where we go and just kind of talk about ourselves and just kind of pump up our delusions a little bit. I tell God how I'm suffering, and I ask him to please guide me. I just tell him, please, just guide me. If you just show me, I am not above anyone. Of course, I have to witness things for myself. So I had to know him for myself, and I knew he was there because I'd felt him. And it's really, for me, it's impossible to explain how I knew that I was feeling the presence of God, but I knew. And something deep down, it's like this feeling of bliss and of understanding and of every pure emotion all at once. Every positive emotion all at once. And it just brings tears to your eyes. So he'd come to me, but he never showed me direction. And I was like, please, you have to show me. I'm a big, dumb idiot. You have to show me things. I can't. It's obviously, after 13 years of this suffering, I'm not picking it up myself. It's pretty obvious. Can you just please show me? And so he did. And so what I do now is, and this goes for every aspect of life, but being in nature especially, because nature is where we are closest to God. So in nature, you ask God to guide you, and then you focus, or whatever your mind and your eyes are drawn to, or your ears are drawn to. It might be, as I've explained before, it might be a tree. There's the birch trees or beech trees or whatever that have the eyes on them, or these crazy looking designs that are just amazing. I've been drawn to them a lot lately. Different types of trees, and if one stands out to you for some reason, take mental note of it. And then when you're done examining whatever has brought you there, whatever focus has drawn you there, then you go to the next thing. And it may be a cardinal lands right in your path, or maybe, like I saw today, an osprey nest with a blue heron flying around it. And so I've seen the ospreys and the blue herons all on the same day before, and so I go home and I think about what it means to me in my life. If I've seen these animals before, or if I haven't, then I go and if I can't connect them to anything in my life, then I try to find what the biblical or spiritual or any kind of meaning is to anyone else. And so I found things like the osprey and the blue heron. They're both pretty similar. They both are spiritual awakening symbols. They are symbols of, the osprey similar to the hawk, who's like a sign from God. They say the hawk can go straight to God and bring back messages, and just go and research these things and find out more about what has drawn your attention, what has caught your focus, because those are the things that God is showing you for a reason. He's not going to show you I'm just going to pick a pine tree for, because one's right behind me. He's not going to show you a pine tree and have you look at this pine tree. He's like drawing my focus for some reason. It's not going to be meaningless. There's going to be a meaning. It might not dawn on you for years, but it could dawn on you immediately. But what you do is you find anything that gets your focus. In nature, all the animals, all the trees, all the water, the wind, no matter what, when you're thinking of a certain thing and the wind starts blowing, that is something you make sure that you remember. And then when you get home that night, well, on the way home, you might be listening to music or whatever, and maybe a certain lyric will speak to you about a certain thing you've been thinking about. Maybe a friend will call you that you've been thinking about recently, or whatever. It could be literally anything. It's called synchronicity with life. Find these synchronicities and then go home and take some time to ponder the meaning of them. Think about the meaning of all of them. And this will be, for me, this is how I am guided by God. Now, he guides me in other ways too, but this is the main way that I come out. I worship in my church, which is in nature. And then from there, I go home and I spend hours pondering it, writing it all down, thinking about what the meaning is, and I make sure that I'm pretty straight on what God is telling me before I ever act on it. Before I start, I never try to preach to anybody. I never try to tell anybody how to think at all. I tell them what works for me. Because God has showed me that my life is an example. And I can go from such a miserable, self-pitying person to someone who is the wealthiest, happiest person in the world. And I'm not talking about actual financial wealth. I'm talking about spiritual wealth. And that is a wealth that literally will grow as you spread it. The more you spread it around, the more wealth you will have yourself. Okay, that's everything I have for today. My 100th video. I know I went a little longer, but I had to redo it because of the wind and the airplanes, but obviously that's what I was supposed to do. I just want you to, if you take anything from this video, just please, you owe it to yourself. What do you have to lose? Just go straight to the source. Go to where you think, even if you don't believe in God, where you think you would be closest to him. I mean, nature is the place that's the universal. God is closest to us all here. All right, God bless you all. Talk to you soon.